My name is Zaid. I'm a current student at OIT Wilsonville, and I'm hoping to graduate next year with a bachelor's degree in health informatics. Health informatics has a variety of fields that it's touched on, for instance, SQL database, networking, a variety of business classes, and programming, which I want to touch on today. Now, behind me, what we have is a Peacock, but it's actually a C# textbook. And underneath it says, in a nutshell. This is a 1,000 page textbook, and I'm gonna save you some time today. I'm gonna keep it very simple so you don't have to go through these pages. And I'm gonna show you how to build a simple web page application using Visual Studio Express for web. That's the software we'll be using today to design our project. So what we're going to do is obviously click on a new project, go to Visual Sharp here, and create an empty web application. After that, it's going to direct us to this window here. What we have on the right is a Solution Explorer. The Solution Explorer allows us to view the different pages that we have in our design menu here. Also, it allows us to store pages or code in certain folders and easier access to them. Below that, we have a properties field, which really allows you to edit the properties of your tools, of your design tools. For instance, the font, the size, or the name of it. On the left, we have a toolbox, which we'll be using in a second. And what that toolbox does, it gives you design options or design tools that you can use to place in your web application. And first thing we're going to do is right click on our project, and we're going to add a new item, which is going to be a web form. After we upload that, we get this page right here. And what we have currently is generic programming code, C# code, that has pretty much all it has is a empty page. That's all it is at its current state. Now down here you have a design window, you have a split window, and a source window. The source is the code of your design. The design is the actual look the user is gonna see, and the split is both. I'm gonna close out of this output, and we're gonna keep things very simple today. So what we're gonna want to do is build an application that allows us to input user data in a specific spot, and after we click a button, it's gonna output that data. So let's keep it simple. I'll type in hello, my name is, and I'll add a text box. So the user is going to be able to type something into this text box, which right now we're not going to give it any requirements or any maximum length or minimum length fields. We're going to keep it very simple. After that text box, we're going to add a button which the user can click on to give it an output, which we'll place a couple rows later, so we can see right underneath what we're going to create. Now I'm going to open this up in our web browser, and it's going to show us what we've created so far. So what we have is exactly what we saw in our design window, and I can type in my name here, and after I click a button, unfortunately nothing shows up, and what we want to see is that instead of this label, we want to see my name pop up again. So let's go back to our design. First thing we want to do is stop debugging so you can actually take a look at your code. First thing that I'd like to do is make this a bit more user-friendly, as well as easier for us to program, which we'll do in a second. So what I want to do is go through my tools and edit their ID as well as their text to make it easier for both the user and us when we're referring to it and when the user's looking at our tools. So I'm going to click on this text box, go over to the properties field, and I'm just going to rename the ID. and I'm going to rename the ID to text name. That way later on when I'm referring it to it, I know exactly what it is, and it's very simple for me. And I'm going to go to this button, and I'll leave the ID open. So the ID is really for you when you're programming, and we're going to scroll all the way to the top here where it says text. Now this is what the user sees. This is what the public sees. And we don't want it to say button. Let's at least rename it to OK. And so now the user will see OK. Now, down here in the label section, I don't want anything to be visible until this button processes my input. So what I'm going to do is actually just delete the text, and the user is not going to see anything. And I will go down to the ID as well and change that to the output so I know where I want to go. So we can actually take a look at this right now as well in our web browser, and we can see what changes we've made. And as you can see, it's much more user-friendly. So now it says, hello, my name is, I'll type in Zaid, but once I click OK, we have nothing that pops up. We want my name to be displayed here after I push this button. So what we want to do now is, now that we're done designing our web form, we want to give this button some functionality. We want to give it some meaning. We want it to do something. So let's stop debugging, and the way to do that, you just simply double click on the button. So right here what we have is actually another page that's opened up, and these two web form pages, they actually work together. The .aspx, it's simply the code of your design. So as you can see, it has coded for us the text box, it's coded for us the button and its placing, as well as the label down here. The .aspx.cs, which you'll see up here, it's the actual functionality or the meaning behind those buttons. So these two web forms work together. So what we're going to want to do here is, as you can see here, it says a button click. So once a button is clicked on, what we want to see is, we want to see the output, which is a text file. We want the output to equal the input, which is our text.name, which is our text.name text box here. So we've coded that into our button click, and right now, if we go back to our web browser, which I have Google Chrome set as default, we should get the result that we were hoping to get from the start. We still have the same form. So now, after I click OK, my name should arise magically down at the bottom. And there it is. Hello, my name is Zaid. Once I push OK, my name is popped up. Now, if we use Jenny, for instance, and click OK, Jenny pops up. So there it is for you. What we've done today is created a simple single page web application that allows us to place something in a text box, and after we click a button, it gives us our desired output. I hope that after this procedure and video, you're able to do the same.